Hello everyone, after streaming and completing most of the story, I'm here with a brand new video for all of you new players, returning players, or current players. This is the starter guide to No Man's Sky patch 1.3. So before you begin, this is more aimed at PC players. To play at around 1080p 60 FPS, you're going to need a decent graphics card, probably around a 970 and above, and at least an i5 processor. Base your specs around this and you should be good to go. However, there is ways around it. For example, my rig is a 770, yet I can still run the game at 720p 30 to 60 FPS. Work with the settings and see how it goes. There's no point complaining that the game doesn't run, because your system might not be up to it. Now the video will be split into 6 different parts: introduction, story, base building, farming and exploration, and miscellaneous changes. Other things will tie into this, but for now, all of the timestamps are on the video, so I'm just going to leave it for a pause for a bit, just so you can have a look. So you're a new player and you've just started, and the first thing you see is, well, a bunch of game modes. The game modes are normal, survival, permadeath and creative. Normal is a very relaxed experience, giving you a slight challenge but letting you explore and complete the story more than anything. It's my favourite game mode because it's really chill and still has a little bit of a survival element. Now survival is a little harder, the planets are more extreme and damage taken is doubled. Everything costs more to make, but it's a more realistic experience. Permadeath is survival and more. Damage is tripled, everything costs 3 times to make and you only get 1 life. There's no recover on it, by the way. If you die, you die. Now creative is a more experimental branch. There's no damage, no resource cost, no nothing. You can still complete the story, but there is more to explore, and basically it's just to create awesome bases. So once you've chosen your game mode, you're either going to spawn next to your broken ship in normal mode, or you'll have to have about a 6 to 10 minute walk if you're in survival or permadeath, and if you play creative, well, you'll spawn next to an empty base. I won't be discussing creative anymore as it's quite simple to understand if you understand the other 3 game modes. Creative itself is self-explanatory. So you come to your ship and inside you're going to be asked a variety of questions which will affect the story later on. You will ask to be selected to choose your multi-tool to repair or your starship. This will prioritise which part you focus on rebuilding. There was also a crashed satellite of some sort, and if you talk to this you will interact with the Atlas. Now you need to repair a lot of things. The main things are the launch thrusters and the pulse engine. The launch thrusters require 4 carrot sheets to repair, which is 50 iron per sheet. The pulse engine on the other hand requires 2 carrot sheets, 200 iridium and 20 zinc. Now to find all this stuff it's quite simple, but it requires a bit of know-how. Iridium is a big blue tall block. It's on pretty much every planet and it's very easy to find. Iron as well is found on everywhere, and it can be in rocks, caves or on the ground or in asteroids. Zinc is a plant, and when you use your scanner, which also needs to be repaired, it's found in the multi-tool section of the UI. The zinc glows yellow. Gather the needed resources and take flight. Congratulations, you've just completed a tutorial. To give more info about random little UI things, units is the in-game currency. It can be found, farmed, earned, anything really. Sell resources on the trade terminals found in space on trading posts to earn them. Nanite clusters are used to bribe pirates or buy blueprints in space stations. These are very rare, so hold on to them and use them wisely. So what else have we got? Well, you have your life support. Your life support is found on your suit and is usually on the far left of the slots. This requires Thamium 9 to be recharged. Thamium is a common resource but usually not around when you need it most. The easiest way to find Thamium is in the asteroids in space. You've also got your hazard protection. If you spawn on a cold planet you'll be taking cold damage if you don't have any hazard protection. Now this, to be recharged, it requires zinc, titanium or shielding shards, and then you can basically not be attacked by cold damage or fire damage, etc. You also have your mining beam. Your mining beam is found on your multi-tool and it's basically required to mine everything around the world. If you didn't have it, then it wouldn't work. You can recharge this when it runs out by finding carbon from plants, plutonium, or thamium, or power canisters, which is a craftable and unique item. You're also going to want that craft that bolt caster. A bolt caster is a blueprint found for your multi-tool. You'll need this for combat. Finally, your ship is going to need fuel too. You're going to need plutonium to charge the launch thrusters. Plutonium is found on every world and looks like a big red crystal. The launch thrusters take a lot of energy, so be prepared to be spending a lot of plutonium. Your pulse engine requires iron to charge. It takes about 100 iron to fill the pulse engine, so it should be really easy to charge. Now you've learned about the basics, let's have a little look into the story. Without spoilers, in patch 1.3 they introduced a new story arc. This story arc opens up more lore into the universe and allows players to look into the deep dark secrets. For returning players, you may remember the Atlas path. The Atlas path has also changed and requires a lot more interaction. The story is interesting and very straightforward to do, however that's not to say that the contents inside are that straightforward. To put it bluntly, the story is extremely clever and will leave you asking questions hours, days, or even months, not months, but you get the gist, after you complete it. The story does rely on interaction which you have as a player, and you don't have to follow it if you do not want to. Each step you take on your journey will give you more insight and more chances within the story arc. To begin the story, open up your menu and go over to the log. You can then select a primary mission. This should be either the Atlas path or the Awakening path. Awakening is a story arc which takes about 10 to 15 hours to complete, and the Atlas path takes about 15 to 20, so have a lot of fun. Portals will also tie into the story arc. Now, portals were added in patch 1.3, and coming across one is kind of a rare event, so I'm not going to be spoiling it. However, when you find these around the story, you can come across monoliths. To find a portal, it depends on your system. If you're in a Korvax system, for example, the monolith will ask for Korvax casing. It will then locate a portal for you. When you get to the portal, you have a lot of different resources to charge it up. Once charged, you can either find your glyph address or travel. To travel, you're going to need to unlock all of the glyphs which are found in caves around the universe. If a traveller, aka a real player, has died and you find their grave, a glyph is then opened up. Moving on, so you're quite far and you've made yourself a humble abode. This is your base, and well, while it looks quite bare right now, trust me, you can build an empire. Base building was introduced in the Foundation update and got a redux in the Pathfinder update. Atlas Rises gives a new take on base building and gives each character you hire more of an individual story. So every planet except dead planets can be used as a base. However, you've just got to find a homeworld. Now the story does give you the opportunity, or you can basically find them manually from scanning space or using a signal scanner. Once you've gotten your home, the game will give you a new quest line. To start, you're going to need employees. These open up over time and are needed for each other. The employees are a Gek Overseer, which will be used on the construction terminal and gives you base building parts. You will then unlock the Scientist, who is a Korvax. They require a science terminal to be hired. After this, the Armourer is available for you. They are Viking and specialise in combat mechanics. They require a weapons terminal. The Farmer is a Gek too. They send you on multiple quests to enable farming. They require an agricultural terminal. The final hireable character is the Technician. They require the Exocraft terminal and can send you on missions to unlock new vehicles. Each hireable is found in a space station. These space stations are in every system, and depending on what race owns that system will decide who is available. If you're in a Viking system, you have more chance of finding the Armourer and Technician, whereas in a Gek system, you're going to have more chance of finding the Overseer and Farmer. So what parts can I build? Well, over time you're going to be unlocking more and more, but as you can see, everything available to you is available via the build menu. Use this and make the abode of your dreams. Unique items are the storage containers, really. You can only have 10 of these in the universe, so please be careful when using them. Now you can also see a teleporter in your base, which when you start it should be inactive. Basically, if you teleport to your base from space stations, you're going to be unlocking this, and you can then teleport back to that space station from your base. It only holds 4 locations, and they will start being overwritten by new space stations, so be very careful. Tips for a good base is to have a system with a lot of planets and build near water for rare resources, and build near caves if you can to get cave marrow. You can also buy a freighter. A freighter is available for a hefty sum of money, but it is useful for farming and an overall space base. You can warp inside of it to other systems and upgrade it using resources. A freighter can act as a garage and hold ships, and is overall a really good source of money. So farming was fundamentally changed in Atlas Rises. It used to be a very straightforward process, but now a lot more has opened up, and it has definitely been nerfed. Farming gives players a huge source of income and is by far the supreme way to earn units. You can farm anything you want really, given it is available and anything really earns money. You'll need to make the hydroponic trays in your base / freighter if it's available for you, or you can plant just on the ground if that's what you're planting. There's a really good way to earn money in patch 1.3 and I'm going to be explaining it. This is courtesy of Rave Mittens on Reddit. You're going to want to make sure that your base system has a desert planet and a toxic planet, with access to cactus flesh and fungal mold. You're going to need to try and make your base on the toxic planet for access to a fungal mold farm. Because your planet is toxic, you can plant these things outside on the ground rather than using the trays to plant because they require fuel. Now go and explore. You're going to need to get 6,000 fungal mold. Fungal mold gives about 50 per harvest in the wild, but you're going to need 100 to start planting it around your base. Make sure you get about 60 planted and then you can wait. They take about 30 minutes to grow, so use this time very wisely. You can either get resources from space, do quests, or other things. However, you are going to want to go to the desert planet and get a boatload of cactus flesh. You're going to need about 1,000 cactus flesh and also 125 mordite. This is found from killing animals. After this, go and collect your fungal mold, and using the mordite and cactus flesh, craft liquid explosives. Liquid explosives are worth 1 million each, and you'll be earning 5 million per 30 minutes. This is the easiest way to earn 10 million units an hour in patch 1.3. Now, in patch 1.2, you could earn about 40 to 50 million units an hour, but this is definitely the easiest way to do it in 1.3. So now we can move on to the exploring side. The universe of No Man's Sky is vast, sometimes empty, but most of the time it's a dangerous place to be. You're going to need a lot of things. To explore, you can use a lot of different ways to get around the system, but to move to other systems, you're going to need warp cells. This is so you can basically move in and out of systems, find new planets, and progress overall. You're going to need antimatter, suspension fluid, electron vapor, and a whole bunch of other resources. Most of this stuff is unlocked through the Awakening storyline, and you can just find blueprints like basically hiding around in abandoned buildings. So in exploring planets, you're going to come across these. These are called whip plants, and to put it bluntly, if you're playing on survival or permadeath, get the fuck out of the way because they will kill you. They give carbon if killed, but seriously, just get rid of them all. You'll also find these rare green containers. They give a rare resource or collectible item and can be sold for a bit of money. Either way, the main goal in No Man's Sky is different for everyone. You have to try and get a 48 slot ship and upgrade all of your exosuit, multi-tool, etc. to basically be the max. A 48 slot ship is rare and requires a lot of units to go and find one. Now, slots in this game are basically the main objective because they hold everything. To upgrade your exosuit, you can find drop pods and you can basically buy a new slot each time. However, in 1.3 they introduced cargo and technology slots too. These can be upgraded as well. Over time, stuff does cost a lot more money and you will really need a farm. Multi-tools are found via monoliths, outposts, or in a special place called the Space Anomaly. Again, a rare S-Class 24 slot multi-tool is going to be really rare and set you back about 50 million units, however they do come with the best bonuses. A 48 slot S-Class ship is probably going to be about 90 million units. Be prepared because they have hefty prices. In patch 1.3 they introduced exotic ships, and to find a 48 slot class of one of these is probably going to be about 250 million units. Each part you upgrade your ship on does have bonuses depending on where you put the tech. This algorithm was changed in 1.3, but it still gives a slight bonus. For example, when you get the warp reactor feeder for your hyperdrive, if you put it next to the slot which your hyperdrive is in, it will give a 5% bonus added onto your hyperdrive. This is as well as the bonus it normally gives as well, so this is the same for everything, and should be self-explanatory as it goes on. The game is built on exploring, so just do all of this and eventually things will come your way. Now, more miscellaneous things now, a mission board was introduced in space stations. You can complete missions for faction and races to earn units, blueprints, or nanite clusters. You can gain reputation within factions and races just by doing this. There have been a couple of new factions added, such as the Mercenary Guild, the Explorers, and Trading. They're all defined by race and give cool little bonuses for maxing them out. You can also play with your friends. All you need to do is get in within a proximity of them within the system, and you can use voice over IP to talk to them. There is a couple of interactions, but this will be expanded more. You can find crashed freighters which give lore and new tech. The Galactic Map has also been changed. A little feature is sorting it by race and all of the other options. Each filter will give a new colour on the star, and you can basically filter out each way. You can also select a path to missions, Atlas Path, Center, or Waypoint, and everything has literally been changed, so go check that out. The UI has had a revamp, and for new players returning, it has been much more streamlined. The music now does change depending on your choice of action, and more secrets have been added. I hope this helped everyone. This should have been used to current players, new and returning. I'll be talking about some of the stuff in this more in depth because I haven't really touched on crafting. This is more of an overall general guide. For now, have fun playing the game, and I'll see you all later. Peace.